enjoyed lunch? Was there enough? Anybody need any more? I want to welcome everyone. We are so thankful that you are joining us today. It's been amazing to see how Ellis County nonprofits, law enforcement, and city officials have come together and coming together more and more to work and strategize together so that we can all work in more efficient ways. That's been really amazing to see and be part of. And you being here today is another part of that. And at this time, I would like to introduce our executive board, and I would like to ask you to stand. Debbie Allison is our vice president. Rhonda Miller is our secretary. Ron West is our treasurer. He's not here today. And Rick Allison is our outreach team manager. This is an amazing group of volunteers, and I am privileged and honored to work alongside them. Every day they inspire me with their tirelessness in working with those in our community. So also thank you, Rhonda, for being our event coordinator and pulling all of this together. And thank you to Walgreens and Latido for catering and Los City Bible Church for allowing us to gather here today. Thank you so much. We would also like to thank the volunteers that are helping us today. Jacob Gamble, you'll raise your hand. Judy Kelly, Julie Mendenhall, Mary Morgan, Mark Owen, and Chuck Tennant. Thank y'all also for being here. I'd like to share a few numbers and cases with you from this year. For one thing, in January of this year, we did the official pig count, which is the point in time counting the homeless, where teams go out, meet with the people, visual, get the information we can. We'll usually take them food and coats or whatever also, but we do a count. And these are people that we were able to make contact with. We can't always make contact with everybody. So the ones that in Ellis County we were able to count was 126, 38 of those being children. And we did find out later, for example, in the Midlothian School District, unofficially, there were like 115 of their students that are essentially couch surfing. So they're homeless, but they weren't counted because they were under a roof, but they don't have stability. And I would guess Waxahachie might have at least the same number. So we're looking at tripling these numbers. So in Ellis County, it is growing. So in January, the Ellis County Homeless Coalition, we had 46 cases impacting 78 people, with 32 of those being children. And in February, we had 27 cases, but still impacting almost the same number of people, 69 and 33 being children. And in the last couple of months, some of the successful cases that we've been able to do, we helped a young man, 19 years old, was sleeping in a park in Waxahachie. So we were able to get food and shoes to him, and we were able to get him into the Adult and Teen Challenge program. And he was actually very grateful. He went. This was on a Friday night. I get a call from Linda Brooks, and she packed up food. I went and picked her up, and we went and got him situated for the night, and then got him into that program. And we did have an update like a month later, and he's doing very well in that program. We were able to help a mother with 4 children get into an apartment and arrange for her to receive donated furniture to help get her started on getting her home set up. A gentleman was sleeping behind a dumpster, and we were able to get him a Lyft ride to the Bridges Homeless Shelter in Dallas. We had a referral from Waxahachie Police Department. We got a senior gentleman transported to the Methodist Dallas ER one evening, and then to Clear Sky Rehab, and he's now in an apartment. A gentleman was injured during moving work, and he was stranded at Baylor Scott and White. His company had to go on. He was in the hospital because he was injured, nowhere to go, nothing to call on. And so we were able to get him a bus ticket to get him back to family in Houston. We also had a young man released from jail with no money or shelter. We got him a bus ticket to connect him back to family in California. And we helped a senior husband and wife get connected with the Veterans Program to get the services that they needed. There's something else that I wanted to share. I've been thinking the last week on what to say today, and I know several of y'all may have been at the Midlothian Mission Matters, and maybe you picked up this book. Anybody can get this book? I've already started reading it. This is called Disruptive Compassion by Hal Donaldson. And two things just really stuck out to me in thinking about today. So this is Mr. Davidson speaking. I visited Kolkata prior to the present government's rise to power. Since then, India has made great strides and become an economic force. In the 1940s, Kolkata was decimated by famine and disease. So in response, Mother Teresa and the Luncheons started feeding programs, medical clinics, and schools. They defined their mission and despite adversity and great risk, pressed on to meet their objectives. As with them, sometimes your circumstances determine your mission. In other words, sometimes you don't have to go looking for your mission. The mission finds you. Mother Teresa came to Calcutta as a teacher and a headmistress at a school. The Buntains came to the city as missionaries to establish a church. When confronted with poverty, disease, and illiteracy, they didn't throw up their hands and say, it's someone else's problem. They didn't curse the darkness and walk away. They took action. The first and most important steps to accomplishing a mission are to recognize a need and act responsibly for doing something about it. And then later he was walking with the Buntains and he asked, how do you and Huldah keep from getting overwhelmed by all the need around you? And he said, we stay focused on what we can do, not what we can't, he replied. We were never asked to play God. That's his job. We can't do everything, but that can't be an excuse for doing nothing. One way that this resonated with me was, this mission exactly found me. One Saturday afternoon, I was looking for something to do. I went online looking at Rail Yard Park, thinking, maybe something's going on down there. And I saw this thing, a House for Thomas, a walkathon. And it said Ellis County Homeless Coalition was sponsoring it. And I thought, I've never heard of that. So I jumped on, I did an email, introduced myself. They were looking for outreach director. So anyway, that's how I ended up here. It found me. And I know a lot of you have answered that call also. Maybe the same type of thing happened to you. You didn't go looking for it, but it found you. But the important thing is you answered. And since you have answered that call, and we know how hard you all work, we want to remind you to take time for periods of refreshing, whether they're short or long. And we hope today has been a moment of refreshing for you and encouragement for you, but we want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing because we need you and our community needs you. Okay, let's welcome our next speaker, Sharon Berrigan with The Heights. Come on up.
Hi, you guys. I am Sharon Berrigan. I am with The Heights, and I am also with Believing Restoration is Attainable. Usually when I come to these events, I wear two hats. No, I don't. I wear one hat, but because I work two jobs. But we're gonna start right away, right with this video, because today I'm representing The Heights. So let's start with this video first.
She was amazing. She was my best friend. Everybody loved her. She had this weird spirit about her. She was like a hippie. She was born in the wrong decade. I used to tell her that all the time. At first, he was super cool. Like he was nice to her and he took her out all the time. And, she was crazy about him.
We met through my sister-in-law. We worked together at a beauty school. In the beginning, it was a lot of ups, and then not even a year into it, there were a lot of downs, and I should have just left them.
We met when I was in LEN school. I was partying like crazy. He was partying like crazy. We were in the same crowds, and so it was fun in hindsight. It had been a pattern that he was getting home later and later, and he was obviously intoxicated. I was so angry, and I was screaming, and he strangled me hard enough where I wasn't screaming anymore. And I remember he like grabbed my head and banged it on the vents in the car, and then he headbutted me.
It started off verbally, and then controlling, and then after the first time he strangled me, and then he said, "I promise I'll never do it again." And I believed him, because I thought, I've never had someone treat me like that. It must have been a mistake. Well, our neighbors saw a lot of stuff that I thought I was hiding well. Bruised eyes, bloody eyes, bruised feet, cuts, and repairing sheet wall because he threw my head in the sheet wall, stuff like that. And I had taken my son and just gone outside to the driveway. And that's when my neighbor waved for me to come to his house, to their house. And he said, "You get in this garage and you sit right here and you hide. Close the door," and they called 911. I was bleeding, I was bruised.
They moved in together, and things slowly started going downhill. And her best friend messaged me on Facebook and was like, "Hey, have you heard from Alex?" And I was like, "No, why?" And she told me, it was no call, no show. She didn't show up. What's going on? And I was like, "I don't know. I haven't talked to her in like 2 weeks." I was taking my daughter's friend to his friend's house, and I was like, "I just want to drive by their apartment just to see, if their cars are there. If their cars are there, I won't freak out, because that just means they're not answering." And when I pulled up, there were cop cars, ambulance, fire truck, and I hopped out of the car, and I'm like in hysterics at this point, going, where's my daughter? And the police officer walked half up the stairs. Another one came half down. He walked back down and he said, "I'm sorry, she's dead." And I was like, "No, she's not." No, she's not. And a lot of that's a blur, because I was really out of it. It was like it wasn't real. There was no time to process it, no time for anything. And she was just gone. He had shot her.
I feel like traditionally the burden is laid on the victim to have to navigate and go to each organization. In Ellis County, that's somewhere between 15 and 20 different organizations. To have a resource center can draw those organizations together to help streamline services.
Having an adequate bowl of resources would have been tremendous help, and so much less stressful. Just to know where you can start and then lead your way to the next resource and help to get yourself out of that situation so you don't go back to that situation. When you don't know where to look, you don't know what you're not doing.
These victims don't understand the gravity of the abuse they're dealing with.
I think his name is Chip. Went in his office the morning after, and I filed charges, and he said, 50% of the people that start off with your story end up as a homicide victim. And he said, "I don't want to visit your house under those circumstances."
When people are in the middle of relationships like that, they don't want to hear what you have to say. They don't want to hear it, because I can beat you tonight, and tomorrow I'm going to tell you I love you and buy you flowers, and it'll never happen again. Then 2 weeks later, guess what? It's going to happen again. It's going to happen. It's going to happen over and over and over, and it's going to get worse until what happened to my daughter happened. And I don't want to see that. I wish that things like that never happen. It's horrible.
We hear from survivors across the country that having a resource center gives them hope and helps them be able to have the courage to follow through and get away from their abuse. We invite you to join us as we guide victims of domestic abuse in Ellis County to safety and hope.
I hope that touched you. I hope that that meant something to you. There were 3 people in that video. 2 of those people are people that I know. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen that video, it gets to me. One of those is my close friend. I know her sons. One of those sons, just the other day, asked a friend of mine to pray for her dad, pray for his dad. Y'all, life is something else. That wasn't in my notes, but I'm just telling you, domestic abuse is real. Life is real. The Heights is real. The picture you saw this is a little bit of a dated video. That was what we were going to build, but we exist in Midlothian. I asked Pastor Bruce over there, does he ever read his notes? He told me usually for an obituary, but this isn't an obituary, but I'm gonna read with emphasis and such, because I don't memorize. Here we go. The Heights, Ellis County Family Resources guides victims of domestic violence and abuse to safety and hope by connecting them to the services of many agencies all together in one place. At its core, the Heights is a beacon of hope and assistance for families in need within our community. With unwavering dedication, we provide a wide array of resources and support services aimed at nurturing and empowering families to thrive. These services range from counseling, educational programs, to financial assistance and basic needs provision. The Heights really does stand as a pillar of strength for those facing adversity. Through our tireless efforts, we not only alleviate immediate hardships, but also lay the groundwork for long-term stability and growth. What truly sets this organization apart is that we are really committed to being very inclusive, and we are committed to having compassion. Regardless of the background or the circumstance, every individual and every family is welcomed with really open arms. Everybody is treated with respect. We treat them with dignity. This world has so much division, lots of division. But the Heights really seeks to serve as a real shining example of unity and bringing people together. We really, really try to have empathy. But our impact goes really far beyond the tangible services that we provide. We foster a sense of belonging and community, reminding us all that we are really stronger together. That's why we really try to be a one-stop shop. EC, Ellis County Women's Job Corps, where are you? We are in that building. You know that I am believing restoration is attainable. We're in that building. United Way, wave your hand. You will be in that building. There are other agencies, so that they will not have to go to 15 different places. We will all be in that building. Together we can create a future where every family has the future to thrive and no one is left behind. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak today. If you want to find out more about us, take a moment to visit our website, which is www.theheightselliscounty.org. Something that I want to recommend for you to do. amazing campus. I personally have the most beautiful office. It is called the Purple Palace. If you are confused and think that my favorite color is red, possibly you're colorblind and there is an ophthalmologist or an eye doctor in town that you can see. My favorite color is purple. But if you go to the website, again, www.theheightselliscounty.org, you can scroll down and you can click on, I want to go on a tour. I think it's with Sandy. And you can go on a tour and visit our campus. There is 1, 2, and soon to be 3 buildings. And you can find out all about us. Hopefully I have not gone over my 10 minutes. And you've been okay with me reading. Do you have any questions? Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, our next speaker is Kristen Rudd with Ennis Cares.
We'll find out. Good afternoon, I'm Kristen Rudd, for those of you that don't know me, and I have the honor of serving as the director of the Ennis Cares Department for the city of Ennis. Thank you to the coalition for asking me to speak today. They wanted me to touch on what we're doing in the city of Ennis, and specifically what we're doing to address homelessness in Ennis, and to talk a little bit about the new building that we'll have at the end of next year. Ennis Cares was born as a response to the pandemic in March of 2020. We started with a non-emergency call center and to receive and process requests for assistance. The city's eyes during that time were open to a lot of the unmet needs. So the city decided to do something about it, and for a city government to step up, that says a lot about our leadership, that they were willing to do that and not expect a nonprofit or church or someone else to take care of it. So the city is leading the charge to take care of needs in our community, and I'm grateful to be a part of that. From that, the Ennis Cares program was established to serve our community through social services, ministry, and outreach. I'm going to stay close to the microphone and do this. Let's see. Yeah. So the mission of Ennis Cares is to serve our community by providing assistance and resources through engagement and services while focusing on long-term solutions for people and families that are in need. So in a nutshell, we're going to love our community, we're going to care for them, we're going to love them well, and we're going to walk alongside them the best we can and get them connected with the resources that they need to the best of our ability. Some of the services that we provide, Ennis Cares Call Center, that is our non-emergency number that people can call when they need assistance, whether it's for food, clothing, shelter, prayer, welfare check, just really any request that comes in. And so we do not provide all of those services. We have organizations that we partner with in the community that are doing an amazing job. We have amazing food pantries, we have thrift stores, we have so many great organizations. So we're not trying to do anything that anyone else is doing well, we're just trying to help be the connector to those things. We also run errands for community members that are homebound, specifically delivery of groceries and prescriptions. Financial assistance for rent, utilities, and prescriptions through our 501c3 when we have funds available. Those are things we can help with. And so we don't just want to put a Band-Aid on the situation and move on down the road. So as we're talking to these families and they're calling in, we want to hear their story, we want to find out more. We want to get to the root cause and to see how we can truly help them. And so it's not always paying a utility bill. We have conversations with them to say, what happened? Tell me a little bit about your situation. And we may find out through those conversations that they've been out of work or had transportation issues, and it may be that they need a tire on their car. So we're going to get to that root cause, and we're able to use our 501c3 funding to help with a tire or a small car repair or whatever the situation may be. So we're thankful that we're not just in a box to only handle certain financial requests, that we can actually get to that root cause and help with that. A big part of what we do is, like I mentioned, serve as a resource hub to get them connected. If we are able to help, we're going to get you to a resource that can and walk alongside them there. Part of what we do is we have an outreach center. This is not something bright and shiny that we have. This is an old fire bay that we're hanging out in the station. It was built in 1915. but it's a great space and it serves its first purpose. And so we were able to use that space as a connection point, and I'll talk more about that as we get into the talk a little further. But this space, we open the fire bays, we're able to heat it when it's cold, we're able to warm it up. Whenever we need to do that, we have food, we have comfy chairs, and it's just a great connection point when we can help them apply for services and things. So during extreme temperatures, warm or cold, we can activate that center. Also, we do showers on Mondays and Thursdays every week. We're open those mornings, and our friends, not just our friends who are unsheltered, but if it's a community member that just needs access to showers, if their water was turned off, they have a plumbing issue, we have that space that they can come in and shower. The great thing about that is we're not just offering a shower, it's that connection point. We can find out about some of those needs. We find out about people who are living in their vehicle that we weren't aware of when we opened up the warming center. And just through the showers, we're able to meet people and find out more about how we can better assist them. And then a large part of what we do is case management for community members experiencing homelessness. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that today and talk about some of the things that we do offer. So as we all know here, there's not a one-size-fits-all or simple solution for homelessness. It's a complex and every situation is unique. Unfortunately, there isn't a homeless shelter in Ellis County. But here's the good news. We have the Ellis County Homeless Coalition. Thank you for all you do. And under the Unite Ellis umbrella, we have a team that's collaborating to look for solutions for homelessness and housing. And these are a group of people. I sit around the table with some amazing, amazing people, and we collaborate, and everyone's passionate around that table. It's not, oh, this is a meeting we're attending. Everybody's passionate. We're looking outside of the box, looking for temporary and permanent solutions to help with our housing and homeless situation here in the county. Meanwhile, we like to focus on what can we do? What can we do at the city level while we're working toward a solution across county? So while we're not able to provide an overnight shelter, NS Cares is able to walk alongside our community members that are experiencing homelessness by providing essential services and helping to create personalized plans to assist in exiting homelessness. We do this by creating a safe place and connection point to meet with our neighbors, by spending time together in this space. We're able to develop relationships, build trust, and hear their stories so that we can have a better understanding of how we can serve them well. We're here to walk alongside our neighbors, not only as a resource, but as an advocate and friend. So I like to call their space, this old building that we're hanging out in the fire bays, that's a safe place. That's a place where these friends can come, they don't feel judged, they can be themselves, whatever that may be that day. We have one gentleman that comes in and he said, I'm just over here trying to be me, I'm just trying to be me. And I'm glad that he can be me in that space, so that's great. So that's a safe place, building relationships, earning their trust, and seeing how we can better serve them in the long run. Some of the services that are included while we're meeting with our friends through the Outreach Center, one, safe space just to relax, just to be able to sit down and rest, take a nap, whatever that may look like. We have food there, showers with toiletries and clean towels, everything they need to shower. Clothing, so we are not a thrift shop, we are not trying to be a thrift shop, we just keep a handful of items in stock for whatever season it is, and then we actually launder their clothes so that they have clean clothing to put back on if they would rather do that. And then we partner with other organizations in town like Jesus Freaks. He's here today. Tim's always great and gives us whatever we need for our clients, so we partner with them and other organizations in town as well. Laundry service, we do. They have clean clothes and they have a locker space, so they don't have to carry everything they own in their backpack. They're able to keep their toiletries and clothing in their locker space there on site. We also have access to AA, NA, or other court-ordered classes. We work with a lot of people that may be on probation or parole, and so that's a space if they have any online classes or things that they can come and take care of those classes to satisfy those requirements. We help with assistance in retrieving documents needed to obtain birth certificate, social security, driver's license, and ID. That may seem like a small thing. That is not a small thing. So one gentleman that we've been working with, he's on parole, and he came out and he even lost his prison ID, so he had zero identification. So over a series of months, we have been working to try to help him get the identification he needs, and we were able to get him on indigent health, which then he had a healthcare card. We got his high school transcript, and then a library card. So that works to get the birth certificate. Then we could do the Social Security, and now that he has his official birth certificate and an official Social Security card, now we can move forward and give him his ID so that he can go to work. So it's a process, and I can imagine going through that process and not having someone to walk alongside me or someone to help with the transportation piece, because nothing is local to us at Ennis for those services. So there's so many different barriers and challenges doing those things, and we're happy to walk alongside and help with those things. Other services that we can assist with, access to a phone, computer, and a charging station if they have a phone. Assistance with applying for indigent health, SNAP, employment, government phones, housing, the list goes on and on. So we have laptops there, and we can help them apply for these services and kind of help even scheduling the transportation through the county, the impact organization. They have funds available through health rides, and we can set up transportation for them to get to a counselor, medical appointment, parole officer visit, those kinds of things. So in that space, we're able to help schedule those rides for them to make sure they can get to where they need to be. And we have an address. We set up a P.O. box through Ennis Cares. As you're applying for services, that say it seems simple enough, I'm going to apply for SNAP benefits. Well, where are they going to send your card if you live on the street if you have no address? So we have a P.O. box, and we're able to route that through the Ennis Cares box, or if they need a physical address for something. And because we have that connection point where we're meeting with them, that's when we can get them their mail and communicate and those kinds of things. We help with medical care and prescription assistance. That process can be frustrating as well. I was helping a young man schedule appointments and kind of get just the calendaring alone, the transportation piece, so many barriers. So it's just so important that we get them connected with people that can help with these kinds of things. And then we're in the process of interviewing social workers to add to our team, so we'll be able to do in-house counseling to help with the case management, and then also just address the mental health needs across the board. We actually start interviewing next week, so we're super excited about that. We'll be hiring a clinical and master social worker to add to the CARES team. So again, I can't say enough about our city government and our leadership, that they have a heart and have made this a priority. And I know in every community, every city, it may look a little different. It may be a church in another city. It may be a nonprofit in another city that opens an outreach center. It can look a lot of different ways. But don't think you have to have something bright and shiny and new to be able to love our neighbors in a space. But we have been very blessed, and this has been, we prayed for this for years and years and years, and we have funding available, so we'll be able to build a building debt-free that will be a community services center that will be the city of Ennis. So the government, the city will build the space there, and it's going to be a one-stop shop for all things outreach. So in that space, we will expand and enhance targeted services, and those services include mental health, women's health, chronic hunger, senior services and activities, transportation, so social services, and then emergency. This will not be a shelter, but we will have this space if we need to activate an emergency shelter. So Snowvid, February, Snowvid 21, right? When everybody was out of power, needed places to land, we were trying to coordinate different spaces throughout the churches and the community. We'll have the space to be able to do that there in that building with all of our partners. So the concept is that the city funds and constructs the facility. Spaces will be leased with providers for a de minimis amount. By that is because we have to have some kind of agreement with our attorney. It's like $100 a year, so it's nothing. We want people to come in and provide services to our community. So we have a lot of partners that will be coming in, and we continue to have talks with them as we're moving forward. The services provided: a health clinic, food pantry, senior services, Ennis Cares will be housed there, and tons of wraparound services. Our service partners will include the original partners are Catholic Charities of Dallas. They will have a choice food pantry in that space. They're also going to bring a lot of their wraparound services. So they have people that will help with the immigration process, lots of parenting classes, financial classes, and they're going to bring all those on along with their caseworkers. So we're really excited about partnering with them. Hope Health will have their Ennis clinic there in that building. So we're excited about that partnership to have that medical clinic there. And then the Golden Circle, that's our senior services center. They're going to be in that space. And then Help Me Thrive and Help Me Grow will have their resource center in the building as well. And they provide a lot of groups and programming for families and children. All the organizations in the building must provide services that improve the health of our community and citizens. So that's the kicker there. You have to be willing to serve the community, be part of the team. So this is a basic layout of the building and what that would look like. The purple area is the medical clinic, and then over across from that, across the hall, in that blue space, that's going to be the Choice Food Pantry. Some of the things I'm most excited about in the building, we'll have a chapel, we'll have a quiet space where people can just come and just be. They can just be. And we'll have a kitchen in the back space, back there, we see all the little circles in that back far side. That's our multi-purpose space. We can divide it off in 3 different spaces where we can have lots of different programming and events taking place, all serving the community. All of our community are welcome in this space, whether you're sheltered, unsheltered, it doesn't matter. We just want to love on you, want to provide services to you. But some of the things I'm most excited about are we're going to have showers and laundry service. We're going to have classroom space so that we can do those financial classes and those budget 101 classes, whatever that looks like, to kind of help with the root cause solutions. So this is a little bit of what that looks like. We'll have an outdoor space if somebody just needs to go outside and just have some time, but we'll have the counseling services and the social workers there. And then we've had lots of conversations with other organizations that will be in the building as well. So we're just looking forward to that. So if you belong to an organization or connected with and want to find out more about that, I would love to have a conversation with you. And that's all I have for today. And if you have any questions, we do have a table set up in the hall, and I'll be happy to answer questions at that time. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Kristen, that's amazing. Okay, we'd like to welcome now Wayne Walker with Our Calling.
Hello. I have nothing else to say now. I'm sure doing sounds awesome. I was in Collin County working with their homeless coalition a couple days ago. They desperately need a service facility. I'm talking to them about that. We do a little bit of that in Dallas, so it's just fun to see the way different communities come together. One of the things that's unique about this community, though, is the shared faith that most people in here have. Although I do need to pray for the pastor, I question his theology because there's no coffee. Yeah, we all sneak pot somewhere. I just praise the Lord that He brings His people together to do amazing, amazing work. I just want to pause for a moment and thank you all for what you do. I know each and every one of you are here because you have a heart to serve people that are hurting. And then when you go home, you're living with people that are hurting. Your own family has challenges. Your own extended family has challenges. Some that match the video, some that match the needs that would go to a facility. We know that these problems are human problems. It's Romans 1, right? Not only do we sin, and we all sin, but we invent new ways to sin in very, very creative, nasty, nasty ways. So just thank you for what you do. Each and every one of you need care as you care for others. Each and every one of us need community as we try to build community. It's so easy to think about all the needs around us and not think about our own needs. Jesus said, "Come to me, all who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest." He didn't say go to you. Go to a coalition, go to a facility, go to these agencies. They're needs, but Christ alone can carry the needs. And we need to rely on Him and His strength in everything we do. My name is Wayne. I'm a pastor at Our Calling in Dallas, and I have the privilege of working with an amazing team. We work with people experiencing homelessness for many, many years. And I'm just going to tell you a little story, and you guys see the same story in your city. So forgive me if this is elementary, and it even looks like a coloring book, so it is kind of elementary. But, and I don't know why my iPad keeps going to sleep on me, but we work with people that are in desperate need, that find themselves in isolation. They could be in a trailer with no electricity or running water. They could be living in a car. They could be under a bridge. They could be in a home, on someone's couch, in a motel. And then somehow they connect to us. And in Dallas, we have an app people use all over Dallas County. People use our app in Ellis County and other counties all over the country. But in Dallas, it connects people to us directly. We have these little books, little green books. You saw some on the table over there. In Dallas, it's the top 50 service providers in the county that provide all those services that you mentioned. And then we have teams that go out. We visit about 4,000 locations a year throughout the county of Dallas and surrounding counties a little bit. And like you, the first thing people need is physical needs. We do distribute a ton of clothes, almost 4,000 clothing items last week. We do have showers and laundry and all that stuff, and we have partners in our facility doing all that stuff. I wish we would have gotten your plans years ago. We kind of had to figure it out. But it is a place where we have medical providers and mental health care providers and the VA. And we have pharmaceutical services. You can get your psych meds, your blood pressure pills. You can meet with the trauma specialist about the abuse. Our facility is zero barrier, so anybody can come in. We have sex trafficking victims every day. We have human trafficking victims every day. We have domestic violence victims every day. And it's because we live in a broken world. People come in because we serve really, really awesome food. Really awesome food. I mean, we serve steak, we serve brisket, we serve ribs, great food. But while they're there, they recognize that they have advanced needs. Because you need more than food and clothes. So that's where we have these strategic partnerships that you guys have here, which is so beautiful. To recognize that that thing on your leg is not going to go away. You need to see a doctor. That depression is not going to go away. You need a mental health care provider. And your spiritual needs are not going to go away without the Lord himself. So we have pastors and chaplains every day to help people walk with Jesus. But like you, we have a team. We have a team of people. We have a lot of staff and a lot of volunteers. They're there to do what you mentioned, build relationships. Because relationships is the secret sauce. It is the secret sauce. Relationships horizontally with people and resources in the body of Christ, and relationship vertically with the Lord himself. Because personally, I believe only Christ can fix what's really broken in us. But we also get hungry. And we also get hurt. We also desperately need safe places to be. I have 4 kids. One of them's a daughter, and you know she has a special place in Dad's heart. If she were on the streets right now, I know exactly what would be happening to her all day. If she were on the streets right now, I know exactly what would be happening to her all day and all night. And as a father, it would not be my concern that she would have a place to take a shower. It would not be my concern that you would go up and pray with her. It would not be my concern that she would get a bag of sandwiches or a change of clothes. It would be my concern that you do whatever it takes to get her off these streets and get her in a safe place. And if that's what it takes to get her there, then by God, then let's do all that together. But people need relationships. And so my prayer for you and organizations here is that the Lord will provide funding for staff. I was on a conference call yesterday. I was speaking somewhere tonight, and somebody said, well, tell me, what is the greatest need of nonprofits that are working with the poor and the homeless? And this guy, it wasn't me, he said they need 3 things. They need money, they need money, and they need money. Right? You have to be able to pay staff fair salaries. You have to be able to take care of their families and their health insurance. You have to be able to care for people's needs. And volunteers are awesome. We've all been volunteers. We all volunteer. We all wear multiple hats. Some of those hats might be purple. But we desperately need people that can do this 40 and 50 hours a week and really be focused. So we have teams. At our facility, we also use a lot of really cool software where we develop exit strategies to help people exit homelessness. And we help a lot of people off the streets. Last year it was well over 1,000 folks. Getting them in the right place. And in a community like this where you don't have a shelter, that's not any more difficult than a place like Dallas, where every single one of our shelters are full every single day. We have about 10,000 people experiencing homelessness. We have 2,500 shelter beds. You do the math. The pastor would love for 4 times the amount of people to show up at church that had chairs. But what do you do when they're poor and they're homeless and they're hurting? All of our shelters are full every single day. And just like you, in Dallas, 80 to 90% of the people we work with are our own residents who became homeless. People in Ellis County that are becoming homeless, they're your residents that became homeless. 80 to 90% of them, they're not transplants from other cities. They didn't move here because homelessness in Ellis County sounds awesome. I want to be homeless in Ferris, and homeless in Waxahachie and Ennis. No, they're here. They're your residents. They're your neighbors, and they're struggling. We use a lot of cool software to help build exit plans, but even having the best plan is kind of useless without the best people to help bring those pieces together, like Kim was talking about, getting someone an Uber to get to that place, getting someone on a bus. I mean, we do hundreds of bus tickets a year, right, for people that need to get back home, and they have a family there to connect to. The best sex trafficking and recovery programs are not near us, and they're not cheap, and we will pay for it. We'll raise the money and we'll pay for it, because that's what we would do for our daughter. We will only send people to places that we trust, that we would do for our family. I have actually 2 staff members right now in Nashville visiting recovery centers, so we can vet them to see if they're really good, or we won't send people there if they're not. We want to make sure that we have a team, and the goal is not to get people off the streets. The goal is to get people in healthy community, and that's really the goal. Because everybody's been off the streets before, and somehow it did not work. Something broke. And the goal is to really have people live in healthy community. The number one contributing factor to homelessness is not mental health. There's more people with mental health than will ever be on the streets. It's not a drugs and addiction. I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of people live in Ellis County with an addiction issue or a mental health issue. You don't have near that many people that are homeless. The number one contributing factor to homelessness, and everybody in this room can work on this, is broken community. When there is nobody to call, there is no bed to sleep in, there is no couch you can surf on, there is no home you can run to with a neighbor that will let you get in the garage. There is no safe place to be. When you have no community is when people hit the streets. You have nowhere to go. And what you are doing is so beautiful, building that community. In Dallas, we work with people experiencing homelessness all over Dallas County. And in Dallas County and Ellis County, we recognize this one void that we're trying to address right now, which is people that are homeless or in the spot of being homeless that have also long-term health needs. And so what we're building here near Ferris, we bought a bunch of land, is a tiny home community, but not for a guy that works at Walmart. It's specifically for those people that have long-term care needs, people that will never be able to work, those people that need supported independent living, assisted living, and hospice care. Again, it's for people that need supported independent living, assisted living, and hospice care. I talk to neighbors, I've talked to every county commissioner that will meet with me, and city manager, and everybody in Ellis County that we can meet with that is interested in meeting and talking to. And they say, well, how are you going to keep that guy from panhandling going down the street? Well, have you seen his walker? Have you seen his wheelchair? He's missing a leg or two. We're working with people in this tiny home community. We're not bringing all of Dallas's problems here, but you've already got problems here. We've identified people, with your help, people in Ellis County that need long-term care. Some people in Dallas County as well that need long-term care. They can't live by themselves. Why are we doing this? Because Jesus said to love your neighbor. Some of our neighbors need housing. We can do that. We have programs to do that. Some of our neighbors need a domestic violence center. We can do that. Some of our neighbors are fleeing sex trafficking. We can do that. Some of our neighbors need a house or a sober living community, or Sober Living of America. We see lots of people there, and all these other programs around the country. But some people need someone to make sure they have food every day and they can't get their own food. Some people need a place where there's a cafeteria, a courtyard away, or someone can bring it to their home. And some people can't get in a car and go to a clinic. It needs to be right there. Some people need the same kind of care that you and I will need when the clock turns a few times over, right? When we get older and we need long-term care, some of us will have family and friends, or maybe the finances to be able to care for some of that. Some people won't. And that's what we're building. specifically for those individuals that need long-term care. We're excited about it. We had a town hall meeting a few months ago in Ferris. Some of you were there. It was so great. A couple of county commissioners showed up. The DA showed up. A couple of other folks. It was really fun to see. Tim was there. Some of you guys were there. See some faces that I recognized that were there. It was so beautiful to see. Just to communicate with the neighbors, hey, here's what we're doing. We love your support, love your help. We have a lot more money to raise because it's a huge thing. You know, we've raised a chunk. We need a little bit more. We're about 9/10 of the way there. So we've got about 10% more, I think, to raise. And so it's fun to see the Lord provide. You know, we operate debt-free. We also operate without any government funding just because it's never fit. We want to talk about Jesus. If there's anything in the way of us talking about Jesus, we're not interested. A few months ago, I was taking two of my peers, the CEOs of other nonprofits in Dallas, to go visit the community. You're all welcome to come see it. And they said, hey, Wayne, the city and the county would love to give you guys a bunch of money. The first thing you have to do is stop talking about Jesus. We're done. You know, we don't exist to just give people another address. Realtors do that. We here exist to help people walk with Jesus and help them be in healthy communities. We think that's super, super important. So the county is ready with our permits. We've got to raise a little bit more money to get there to do that. We did have that town hall meeting. We'll probably do a few more, and we'll send some feelers out to see if you guys want to come take a tour. What we have now, and I'll show you a couple of images, which, you know, architects draw pictures on paper. They look really, really cool, but reality is sometimes a little bit different. But 500 homes on a 280-acre piece of land, and every single support service they need on the same property. Everything. So at our facility in downtown Dallas, we have 12 to 15 partners that are there every day. So mental health care, medical providers, the VA, all these other agencies. They've all committed to come with us. So we will have there on site not only a grocery store and a church and a cafeteria serving 3 meals a day and full-time security and all the other stuff, right? But also have a full-scale medical clinic and mental health care clinic and pharmaceutical services and counseling and all the support that people need. Because obviously they have lots of needs. I'm here just because we want to be good neighbors and we want to know where we can help. We recognize as we talk to many of you that this might be a good fit for some of the people you're working with, and we would love to figure that out. We're still probably a year from moving the first resident out there. We still have to raise some more money. We, just like you, we tell the Lord what we need. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and when he sells some cows, we start building. So we've raised many millions of dollars, but unfortunately it takes just a few more. So I think our first phase is about 15 million, and we're not far from there right now. But we're excited. We're excited for the opportunity to do this, and we're excited to do this together. So I've met with many of you, and we'll continue to give you updates and invite you out there. I'll tell you right now, though, as a guy that works in Dallas, I don't live in Dallas, but works in Dallas, but actually I grew up in East Texas, so I grew up on a bunch of land, and it's a town smaller than the ones I had. Poverty here looks a little different. And it is just as complicated in a big city as it is in a small one. It's just as complicated when you want to pull your hair out because there's not a place. Because when you go to the big city, the place is full. There's not a place. But one thing you have up on Dallas, one thing you have that is better than Dallas, one thing, and these are a lot of things, one thing you have that is far superior to what we have in Dallas County. And I serve with the coalition, I'm part of all those things, all those groups that we know all the time, is that you have Christ at the forefront of what you do. Your peers and organizations in Dallas County would have already asked me to step down from a group like this if I was speaking and I mentioned Jesus. The United Way in Dallas is completely non-faith-based in every way. The coalition is completely non-faith-based. The organizations that are trying to do this work and work the hardest are trying to do this without Jesus, which I think is impossible. So I just want to encourage you. I'm an outsider trying to be an insider, and we'd love to know how we can serve you guys in any way. So again, thank you for letting me come and rant a little bit and talk a little bit about what we do. We do have an event coming up at our facility. It's going to be an open house just for anybody. You can come anytime. We'd love to have you guys. But we have an event. This is our 15th year as an organization. So 15 years ago, we incorporated. Over 23 years ago, I think, is when we started doing this work in Dallas. But 15 years ago is when we actually got our first 501c3. Man, we're official. We got $1 and appeal bonus. Awesome. Now we have bigger problems. So again, we want to invite you. You're welcome to come. It's at our facility. There'll be bounce houses for the kids and lots of fun stuff. Just to kind of a come and go event. Again, thank you for your time. Please pray for us because we are definitely praying for you. Thank you.